Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day. Yes.
So, you once said, when you learn to do more with less, you can do less and get more. I was wondering if you can expand on that.
Well, isn't it obvious?
Yeah, but just, you don't have to.
Well, in other words, asking us to expand on it is not doing less and getting more. Because you're asking for more instead of less.
Oh, okay. Yes.
The idea really, again, is becoming more efficient, in a sense, allowing things to flow through you in a more efficient way so that the actions you take feel less and less and less like you're actually expending any effort at all. That's what we're saying. You feel like you are doing less, but you see the reflection of more happening because you're doing it more efficiently, more in alignment with the superconductive nature of the energy that's flowing through you. Whereas, if you feel like you're doing more, then there may be resistance there that is beyond the natural way in which you need to express yourself, because you're doing more but getting less because you're not being efficient with the energy. So it's not that you actually are really doing less physiologically, but you're doing it in a way, although you might be, but you're doing it in a way that feels like you're not really doing anything. And yet you are doing more because you're using the energy more efficiently. You're being more aware of the greater reflection that even the tiniest change will make in the experience of your life. That's what we mean by doing less and getting more, is you're becoming more of yourself, which reveals more of yourself. But the way you become more of yourself is not by struggling, is not by resisting. In a sense, it's by surrendering to who you truly are. And that, in a sense, translates as doing less. It doesn't mean you actually just sit.
Timo from Finland on the Arctic Circle. I have experienced hundreds of times sleep paralysis, flying dreams, and also I have been many times conscious of out-of-body experience. So I would like to know, what does that mean? And have you got reading how many times I have been experienced those? And I have 2 days from this live stream, I have my birthday, so if you and your civilization can send me happy birthday, I would love that. Thank you.
Happy birthday. We'll do that first. The idea of what you call sleep paralysis can happen for a number of different reasons, based on not only what you mentioned in terms of out-of-body projection, because if you're shifting yourself to another dimensional realm, your body can no longer move in the same way that you're used to moving it, and so that can be experienced as a kind of freezing or immobilization of the physical form, while the idea of the energy component, the consciousness component, goes on or expands beyond the idea of its physical experience. However, it also can be something that happens when you are shifted by encounters with different extraterrestrial beings into a slightly altered reality in order to experience certain encounters, because again, it's similar to the idea of shifting your vibration from what you typically refer to as physical reality to perhaps another variation of it. And so, therefore, in being shifted, you are also being immobilized to make sure that you're shifted to the reality that is preferred, so you don't go shooting off into the cosmos. And also because, again, the immobilization may be necessary or simply a side effect or a result of the fact that you think you're trying to move in the same reality, but because you're not in the same reality, you have to learn to move differently and therefore feel that effect of not being able to move in your typical reality as a paralysis. The flying can be representative of the fact that you know you are now moving through an astral realm or out of body, as you say. It can also be representative of some encounters with the idea of being on a spaceship. But again, it will depend on that particular moment. You'd have to take it on a moment-by-moment basis. In terms of the number of encounters that you've had, it appears that you've had at least 13 in your life that are responsible for that experience for that reason. In terms of the idea of out-of-body projections, it seems that you may have had well over 50, at least as far as we can read your energy. You may not remember them all because it may not be necessary.
Hi, Bashar. This is Riho from Estonia. I have a question about energy readings. How is it possible that you sense someone's energy who you barely know and channel completely detailed information about their personal life? Please describe this process. And
we don't have to know them on a personal level to be able to read the language of the energy that we perceive when the interaction takes place. There are literally patterns of energy that we perceive that you're made out of. And sort of similar to the idea of someone who's sensitive to reading like tarot cards or something else, certain patterns stand out in terms of their color, their shape, whether they're in the beginning or the front or the back, in certain ways that actually is representative of an energy language. And it's the energy language of the personality that we're actually perceiving and responding to. So the different symbols that we see, that we perceive in that exchange tells us what we need to know and what we need to say. We're responding to energy patterns of your consciousness. And therefore it's representative of different aspects of your personality, different aspects of your journey, different aspects of your experiences are all translated into symbols in that energy language, and that's what we're reading.
How can we train this for ourselves, and do we experience it already, actually? Thank you. All my love to Aveyo. Hope to see you soon. Goodbye.
By following the formula, because again, remember, as you act on your passion, the very first step of the formula is designed to raise your frequency, because that's what happens when you act on your passion. And when you raise your frequency, you become a more sensitive receiver to higher frequency dimensional information. And therefore you start perceiving things, and your senses start being more capable of perceiving things on a higher frequency level, which sometimes translates as energy forms, or whatever way it works for you, whatever symbols work for you. But that's the first step, is you have to raise your frequency, which is why we encourage all of you to act on your passion, because that's what automatically happens when you do. So the more you get used to doing that, the more you will.
Let's see. Do physically incarnated beings have free will and creative power, or is that just an illusion?
Of course you have free will. Now, you have made a free will choice also from another level, a spirit level, about exactly what kind of theme you will be exploring. And the theme is generally the person that you are. The challenges that come up are representative of the theme that the personality you've created yourself to be needs to explore. So that theme can seem like destiny, because you can't necessarily change that until you finish that theme, but you have free will within that destiny, within that theme. As we have often used the analogy of a hallway, saying that from a spirit level, a higher level, you have chosen a particular hallway that you will walk down. That's your theme. That's your path. That's who you are. Being who you are in this life experience is the theme, is the destiny. But how you are who you are is up to your free will. Again, going back to the hallway analogy, you will walk down the hallway. That's your destiny. You made that choice from the free will of a higher level. But within the hallway, you are completely free to decide how you will walk down the hall. You can walk, you can run, you can fly, you can crawl, you can be happy, you can be sad, you can look in every doorway along the way, you can ignore them all, you can go upside down, backwards, inside out, whatever way you wish to do it. That's your free will exploring the theme you set up for yourself. So your physical life is a combination of a so-called theme or destiny and free will in terms of how you explore it.
And so I know I have a question about this. So when we experience going down our hallway, and you've brought up the idea of surrendering to your flow, what
Yes.
exactly are you describing that we're surrendering to?
You are surrendering to the vibrational state of the theme itself. In other words, you're in total acceptance of who you are as the theme.
So when you make the choice to surrender to the way your life is unfolding and to
Yes.
trust that it's unfolding in a beneficial way to you, even if it's not exactly what you prefer.
Yes. So this is where the free will and the destiny merge. In other words, you are presented with certain things in that hallway, because that's the definition of that hallway. That's the definition of the challenges that expose the theme, reveal the theme. But the idea is that you still get to decide how you will engage with that. So the surrendering to it and the acceptance of your true self is the idea of engaging with the theme in a positive and constructive way. Again, this is the fourth part of the formula. Choose to remain in a positive state because you understand that no matter what happens, even if you recognize it neutrally as something you don't prefer, still it's got to be there for a reason. It's got to be part of the exploration of your theme. And if you engage that exploration of something you don't prefer from a positive point of view, from a positive state of being, you'll be able to go with a flow of using it and getting a benefit from it in a way that will serve you, because you know it's got to be there for a reason that could serve you, if only you will stay in the positive state that will allow you to experience how it could be used to a positive effect in your life. Because again, remember, it comes down to not mattering really what it is that happens, but mattering what you do with what happens. So staying in a positive state will allow you to get a benefit out of what happens, even if you don't prefer it. Whereas going into a negative state will only allow you to feel blocked by what happened instead of being more capable of using it to your advantage. Because remember, even on the simplest level, experiencing something you don't prefer, if you stay in a positive state, will allow you to recognize, if nothing else, that you've been given an opportunity to see what you don't prefer so that you can understand what you do prefer more clearly by contrast. And that's a positive way to use what you don't prefer. And when you use it up, when you learn the lesson of why it's there from a positive point of view, most likely it will fade away because it has now served its purpose and you can continue to move forward. Whereas if you give it a negative meaning, this doesn't belong in my life, this is not what I wanted, something is wrong, then all you're doing is creating a vibration that sticks you firmly right there in that position in the hallway until you get the point of why it happened to begin with and what you can learn from it and how it can benefit you by being there.
So even if you experience some form of loss, if you have the basic understanding that everything happens for a positive reason, and you
Everything
allow your
can be used
in a positive
way. I just said it's there for a reason.
Right.
It's up to you to determine what that reason is.
And then that allows you to stay in touch with your own flow and see how that can be a beneficial experience, even if you didn't enjoy having it initially.
Well, again, it's not about not enjoying it. It's about recognizing that it can be used to your benefit. And if you recognize that more quickly and more quickly and more quickly, then you simply come from a neutral, balanced state, and you can actually then start to enjoy anything that happens, even if it's what you don't prefer, because you will know you can use it in a way that you would enjoy to.
And it really can show you that something better can happen. Like it will bring up things like that. Like, oh, well, this was going to be the best thing that, and actually by trusting that if negative synchronicity is serving you, by not allowing you to have a certain experience that you thought you wanted.
Correct.
Then
it's guiding you through the idea of not only giving you opportunities you can act on, but guiding you by preventing you from being able to act on certain things that is simply not your path right now.
And then your trust in the unfoldment of your life and how your flow goes
Yes.
will make all the difference in the world as you're
Yes.
experiencing these lessons. So
and as you become used to this and it becomes your first nature, then it even goes beyond the idea of trust. You simply understand and know how things work. Then it's not a matter even of having to have trust in it. You simply understand that that's the way it works.
Okay, and then let's see if there's one last one to ask.
Yes.
You often say that don't invalidate what you don't prefer.
Yes, because that sticks you to it.
So when you
In other words, you're giving it energy. You're feeding it by invalidating it, because invalidation is a negative energy, and therefore it compounds the negative energy of what you don't prefer.
So when you say the word invalidate, can you express what invalidation is? Like,
well, in a sense, it's what we just talked about. It's sort of another way of saying, this does not belong here. This has no value to me. So invalidation is discounting the value, discounting what's happening in your life as if it didn't belong. And therefore, all you're doing is reinforcing your inability to use it in a way that positively serves you.
so, and I guess lastly,
it's like saying, I see a series of stepping stones ahead of me, but one of them is a color I don't like. I don't prefer it. So I'm going to invalidate it. I'm going to say that stone has absolutely no value whatsoever. It does not belong on the path. So get rid of it. Now you have no way to step from that stone to the next one. You have literally caused yourself to invalidate your path, to remove the ability to step forward by discounting the reason that that stone, that different stone, is there, instead of using it to your advantage, saying, well, that stone is different because there must be something different I need to look at here. There must be something different I need to learn here that would actually help me then go on to the next stone. But if I invalidate it and remove it from the path, then there's too big of a gap for me to cross. There's no stone for me to step from to the next stone beyond.
And so coming back to the monologue in the beginning, essentially what you're explaining to us is how to stay in the moment,
yes,
and appreciate whatever is being generated in that moment.
Yes.
And how to be in the state where you're not invalidating what is happening.
Yes, because then you cannot use it to move forward if you invalidate it. If you say it's worthless, it has no value, it doesn't belong here, how can you use it to keep moving? You can't.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You are also welcome.
Yeah, we really appreciate all your sharing, all the information that you give us, and giving us this boost to be able to shift to a new paradigm where we can experience physical reality in a much more positive way.
Yes, well, it is our passion and our pleasure to do so. And of course, the choice is completely up to you. So we thank you for that, our unconditional love to you all. And as another expression of our unconditional love and support, please now allow yourself